Γεια σας, είμαι η Άρτεμις και ακούτε το Coffee Stain, ένα podcast γεμάτο ιστορίες, εμπειρίες και έμπνευση από την βιομηχανία του καφέ, αλλά από μια άλλη διαφορετική οπτική, την οπτική τη δική σας. Προσωπικές και επαγγελματικές ιστορίες γεμάτες πάθος, επιμονή, δημιουργικότητα, στόχους και φυσικά δράση. Ετοιμάστε λοιπόν τον καφέ σας και ελάτε μαζί μου. If I should say what connects me and Lucas, would be three words: people, stories, and life. Welcome, Lucas, to Coffee Stain. I'm really happy that you are here with me today.
It's a huge pleasure for me, really. It's a pleasure and honor, because this is a fantastic initiative.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Lucas, I would love to share with us some things for you, for the people that might not know you, although you're really famous around the world, but maybe some Greek people do not know you very well. So I would like to tell us 2 or 3 things about yourself. Who is Lucas?
It's always difficult, to talk about myself. At principle, I work in the coffee industry. My main occupation is I'm a community manager for Comandante Grinder, and I'm super proud of it that I can involve with the community in this way. And I write interviews for European Coffee Trip for the series which is called Barista Stories. I also kind of go beyond my responsibilities evenings, because I love to host events. So I love to do tastings, cuppings, workshops, kind of to always be in the mix with the community. Love the community which we have in coffee. I really believe in it. I know that there are a lot of people who say coffee community is like an empty phrase. For me, it's not an empty phrase. I came to coffee because of the people, because of the stories, because of the craft and the respect for the craft. And because of this, I really believe that we all are beautifully connected with each other, and we should really take benefit of that community and that growth and because of this community, for example, we have this conversation now, which is really amazing.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
For it, we never meet. You remember that what I told you on the discussion panel which we had some months ago, that I didn't know you personally, but I knew Artemis from a really long time ago, and tell you this story after so many years was absolutely amazing. Yes. Long story short, I love to say that I'm a coffee storyteller, because whatever I do in my work, it connects to some experiences, connects to some stories, and I love to teach, educate, and solve people problems with stories and with case studies. And that's how I think, work in our industry.
Honestly, although we do not know each other for much time, I feel so much connected to you, because this is the reason that I created the podcast. This is the reason that we met, because I really believe in the community of the coffee people and the community in general. And I really agree with you that it's not an empty word. It's reality. It's based on us, you, me, whoever, to make it happen and make it less empty, let's say. But I would like to share with the people that see and hear us this story about you and Artemis the Mixer, because you love to say stories. And I think that this story would be a great start for this episode.
Coffee was pretty much always around my life. And it started with my parents, who are always starting the day with a coffee. And I always considered coffee like a necessity. Without it, you're not human. They were absolute zombies in the morning. And they had this really nicely smelling, because I still remember the aroma was very nice, which tasted horribly bitter, but smelled amazing. And then they became human and more pleasant. But that was always like a necessity for me. And when I started my teenage years, again, that was like a necessity for me. When I was studying, when I was, So in order to wake up in the morning, I had a coffee, but it was more like a fix, with a lot of sugar, instant creamer, and stuff like this. And when I was a young student, I think I was 20 or 21. I was part of a students' organization called Board of European Students of Technology. And I went to Halkidiki in Greece for an event. And we entered a cafe. And my friends were all like ordering coffees, the Greek style coffees. And I was like, oh, I want to try. I want to try. I never tried. And that was the first time I encountered Artemis, and I had the Freddo espresso, which was made with a proper espresso from espresso machine, ice, Artemis by a very nice. Back then, I thought like the best barista of the world. Now I would think it was just like a very nice guy, but in a casual corner cafe. But for me, it was just like a profound experience. And I remember it was the first time ever when I enjoyed coffee. Like coffee was an enjoying moment. It was like a pause. And that's what also I really, really loved back then from my Greek friends who were like saying, no, now we have coffee. We don't rush, we don't work, we sit and we sip. And it's how Greek people, how slowly you drink coffee, how you slowly let it, let's say, melt down. And for me, this idea that you can actually slow down, that you can enjoy the moment, you can be there in the moment, was groundbreaking. Like, this was the first time I ever encountered that. And this sparked my interest in coffee in general. And that's why I'm saying that I probably wouldn't be in coffee if it wouldn't be for that moment. Indeed, Artemis and that Freddo espresso was absolutely the first thing which said, like, coffee is a thing. Coffee is actually a thing.
Exactly what are you saying now? Stop and enjoy. I would like to connect this phrase with a topic that we're going mainly to discuss today about mental health. This feeling that you had in Halkidiki, stop and enjoy coffee, I think is an important factor of staying healthy mentally for everyone around the world to take a break, stop, enjoy some things, stop working, stop thinking, and just stare the sea, whatever, wherever you are. What led you to get involved, because you are involved in this mental health field, I would say?
First of all, came to coffee without realizing that it's about mental health. Because I was working for a few years in corporate, for a few years in marketing agencies, in high drill, high stress environments, and I was burning out heavily. Absolutely, like I wasn't enjoying myself. I wasn't enjoying my work. It was always a struggle. And back then, I was thinking, I'm either gonna have a heart attack or I'm gonna get bald before I'm 30. And let's just say both of those things were not an option. So I said, like, we need to change that. Back then, I dropped my marketing job to keep freelancing soft skill training, because what I told you about the student organization, which I was involved, I was there for years, I think 8 years in total. And not only as a student participant, but also after that, a trainer, a coach in soft skills, team building, in leadership skills, in presentation skills, etc. And because of that, that gave me a little bit of like connection to them, but I never really had like the connection of how important the topic is. For me, it was always like, okay, mental health is kind of like you are sick or you're not sick. That was my thinking back then, very wrong thinking. And also mental health as a thing, which we unfortunately still encounter now, is a huge taboo topic. Back then, for me, mental health, I'm fine. I was raised that you go to a therapy, you take care of your mental health only when you have a problem, and a big one. And it's usually ashamed of it. That was a very, very unfair thinking. And I went into coffee basically as a part-time job. I was turning 30, because I thought like this is the last moment to explore this thing which I was always curious about, like coffee as a ritual, customer service as a moment of creating moments, creating these pauses in people's lives. And I was like, when I'm gonna be 30 plus, that's gonna be silly to be a barista. It's gonna be not serious. But now it's the last moment when I can try it out and I can see if it works for me. And many years passed, and I'm still in the industry. I'm not active as a barista anymore. I was a barista for 5 years, and that was a beautiful chapter in my life. It taught me a lot, but that also connected me much more to the mental health topic, because back then, what being a barista showed me, you have such big responsibility for people's mood and for people's experience. The way how you curate an experience in a cafe as a barista influences people's life profoundly. Why I'm saying that? I used to work in a cafe during the pandemic, and we didn't even close for a single day during the pandemic, even in the tightest lockdown. And people illegally were leaving their flats just to have a moment to knock on the window, order coffee through a text message or through showing us the screen to the window and having this moment of connection. We always said only the necessary, only the absolutely crucial businesses can be open. The essential businesses, yes, the essential services. And in my opinion, cafes are an essential business. They are so profoundly connected to mental health, and they are so profoundly connected to well-being of the society and of the communities. I also had a customer around that time who was coming always to the cafe before the opening every day. At 7:15 he was there. At 7:30 I think we were opening. And one day I asked him, like, hey, how are you doing? Where are you from? And like, why are you always like coming earlier? And he's like, well, I'm a photographer, but I mostly deal with still photography, architecture, buildings, etc., etc. And this moment of a conversation with you in the morning before all the customers come is usually often the only conversation I have during the day. So it's very precious for me, like this moment of small talk and human connection. That broke something in me, and it showed me that like there's so much more in this job. There is so much more we are responsible for. But then, on the other hand, in our industry, for ourselves, we really don't take care of our mental health. Like this is never a priority. Like we are so prone to burnout in this industry. We have so much high expectations towards each other to always be smiling, to always be in a good mood, to don't bring our baggage into the cafe. But at the same time, nobody really asks us deeply and actually wanting to hear the answer. How are you? How are you feeling? Is everything okay? And it's really up to our teams and up to our environment and our micro communities on how well do we feel with ourselves. And also during my barista career, that was the moment when I realized you don't need to have a problem to go to therapy. Like you don't need to be sick to go to therapy. Because I had a friend back then who was ultra successful, and he told me he's going to therapy. And I'm like, why? Like you're so successful in all the possible areas. And he says, like, well, I have my things I need to fix to be better. And it's like nothing is ideal. And it's not really that I have a problem. I just want to be better. And I was like, I also want to be better. I was always reading all those, self-improvement books. I'm a huge fan of Brené, and I love her approach of being vulnerable, but I never really thought that therapy can be a thing. So I went to therapy with a thinking that, hey, I want to improve myself. I'm already kind of okay. I'm fine. We don't need to talk about my childhood because that's finished. I'm an adult. And I just want to, improve. I'm here and I want to be here. Yes? And my therapist just smiled at me and he said, okay, so tell me about your childhood. Then I think 2 years passed, and I was a completely different human being, and that really changed me. I will probably come back one day because that was a few years ago. Just so many things changed, and my life is so much different than back then. But really, I am so grateful for this experience that it allowed me to think that, first of all, I really think mental health, and especially in our industry, should be a human or employee right. Because we have so much responsibility in our hands, and we have responsibility for our colleagues, for our clients. And I really think we would be so much better if we would have some more access to mental health services, to mental well-being services, and have more know-how, because we can only benefit. So many issues, I think, would be solved if all of us, for example, would have a, a mental health pack in our employee contract, just to have a chat
Mm-hmm.
with, because it doesn't need to be
Mm-hmm.
therapy. It can be also, some other resources which help us simply being better human beings. And if we are better human beings, feeling better with ourselves, then we are better to our employees, to our clients, to our teams, and to our families. No?
The first thing that, let's say, is the start, is the foundation, is to acknowledge that there is a problem. And this is the most difficult thing for all humanity, in whichever industry they are. That I don't have a problem, the industry has a problem, my boss has a problem, my husband has a problem, my friend has a problem. I do not have a problem. And, I am fine. I'm a good person. Maybe I could be better, but I really don't care. I think that that is the main issue in everything in our world. Do you think that we can do something about it to draw people to this way of thinking, to make them think that, let's see, is Artemis who other people sees, or she's inside, she has a pain, she has a sorrow, she has a trauma, she has many issues to deal with, and she's just smiling, and people think Artemis is always happy.
We just need to we need to make it a normal thing. You have so much content on how you can improve your gut health, how you can get slimmer, how she is taking Ozempic, she's not taking Ozempic.
Mm-hmm.
I would much more like to have people asking questions. Oh my God, she looks so amazing. Did she go through therapy? Because she's shining from the inside. We see all those people on stages doing presentations, or us, even having this conversation. People might say, "Oh, they are in such a good shape, and they are like so active in the industry. They do so many things." We need to talk more about like the effort which we put in to be able in this stage to be able to share this battles which we always have with ourselves. Old Lucas, the one which was very project oriented, very task oriented, he would never have this conversation. He would never allow himself to be vulnerable. He would never allow himself to show his flaws to the other people. Because I was taught that once you show your weaknesses, your enemies are going to use them. It took me a decade or more to realize that you are your own biggest enemy if you don't make yourself your friend. Like, we really need to start with ourselves, having a real conversation with ourselves, which now is very funny for me, because when some people were telling me some years ago, it's like, you need to have a conversation with yourself. This was so scary to me, because first thing I was thinking is like, what if he's gonna respond? What if this Lucas from inside has a different opinion? And I was petrified of that. And I was like, I'm not going to have a conversation with myself. But a few years ago, for example, I would not be able to sit in a room without any music, without anything playing in the background, just sitting with myself and my own thoughts. That was not an option.
Mm-hmm.
Now I love to do that. And I love to actually think and analyze what I feel, how I am, how my body reacts to different situations in my life. So, I really think us sharing those things, that's the first step. What we can do in our industry, in our industry, because we really have living in this bubble. All the people who are on the stages, all the people who are in competitions, should, in my opinion, also show the part that how much hard work goes into it, how much I needed to take care of my head first before I went into the stage. Because,
Mm-hmm.
for example, we are so into coffee competitions, and we love to, cheer for champions and watch performances of people who were winning World Barista Champions, etc. We always ask the questions: How did you prepare? How many hours did you prepare? How was the coffee? How did you approach the process technically? So rarely ask the questions like, what did you do first here to be able to go through this process? Or how big burden it was for you also. Because so many times people go on that stage, they win, all the people take photos and you are in all the spotlight. The event finishes and those people collapse because they were not prepared for that. They were super exposed, and at the same time they were so overtrained, overworked, and overstimulated inside, and they didn't take care of how they feel inside. I don't know if you noticed how many national champions, they go on that stage, they take this trophy up, and they struggle to smile. So many times when it's like, okay, the camera goes in, yes, I'm smiling, but the camera goes off, it's like, oh shit, what just happened?
What happened? What just happened?
What
Yes.
just happened? And it's like, what did I do? And it's not necessarily a very good emotion. I started to look at those things very closely because I was on that other side as a competitor. I remember how much it costed me to go on those stages. I remember how much I was critical to myself. I remember how much I was, harsh on myself, and how much I took everything super personal. I remember an event in Poland when I was taking part both in the the qualifiers for Brewers Cup and Barista Championship, both at the same event. And I finished my barista routine, and I had for 15 minutes to change my suitcases basically for different equipment and going to the Brewers Cup stage in the same event. And guess what? This high performance guy who was like, yeah, I can rule the world, I fainted after I
Wow.
get the barista stage because my body said, no, no, this is too
Stop.
much. So many people say it's like that was a turning point. My body gave me a sign. My
Mm-hmm.
body gave me a sign to slow down, to take care of myself, to fix myself. And then their beautiful chapter in life starts. So many times when I write barista stories, there is a situation before, me as
And
before
after.
that, me after that. And the truth is, it's all connected to mental health because we might take care of our body, like you know how many people in our industry loves to run in the morning or do CrossFit or do whatever exercises. That's super nice. That's very healthy. That's beautiful. How many of us use, for example, running to escape from things, like to just not think about things, train ourselves, and we think everything is right. I remember it myself. I went through one really absolutely horrible breakup in the past. I took on my sneakers and I went to a park in Warsaw and I was running till the moment I dropped because I wanted my body to get so exhausted with this that the brain doesn't have capacity to think more about this heartbreak. Super unhealthy, super, disconnected. And that's what I'm seeing. Like, I see so much disconnection between, okay, I'm taking care of my diet and I'm taking care of my exercise, which is already amazing. That's already like you're here. There are so many of us which don't take care of those things. Mental health, nah, I'm fine. It's okay. It's like, and I really think is like at least the people who should really as an obligation have a task to take care of their mental health in our industry are the people who lead other people, are the people who have
Mm-hmm.
teams, are the people who are responsible for other people. Because if you're not okay with yourself and you're too harsh to yourself and you don't take care of your mental health needs, you're not going to see those needs in other people. You don't going to have empathy for what they are going through. Remember so much myself when I started as a barista, then head barista, when I was super, oriented on performance. Like a cafe is a machine and it needs to perform the best. And I remember back then that when I was entering a cafe for my shift a bit earlier, for example, my teammates were scared of me when they didn't expect me to enter. Because they were like, oh, he's gonna see all the things, which like here's
The
messy, here's
faults.
dirty, here the shot runs a bit faster. And I wasn't brutal in any way. I wasn't aggressive towards people. I was never a violent person. I never shouted at anyone, but they could see my, you know, that I am disappointed. And that was enough for
Mhm.
them to literally. And I had some conversations back then with people when they were like, I'm really afraid to have a shift after you. I'm really afraid to close the cafe and when you're opening in the morning. Like I spend extra half an hour of my own to polish everything because I'm really afraid the next day. Imagine then, schedules changed and I'm suddenly opening the next day. And then I was a person who was sending messages at 7:15 in the morning to my teammates like, this was not done, this was not done, how dare you? I was this kind of a person. How much I changed to the person who I think I'm now, that even if I now enter a cafe, I don't work behind the bar anymore. But if I would see those things, like here a dirty cloth, here a shot running too fast and everything, I will first look now at a person and see, do I see they are okay, if they are fine, if they might need some help, maybe they need some encouragement, maybe they need some nice word, maybe they need some compliment. Times we get really nice compliments from our guests or customers, which we're always like service providers often. Like 50% or
Mhm.
even more of our work is just executing things for people. And like, I don't know in which country in the world we have a nice tipping policy for baristas. Like you tip waiters, you tip in restaurants, but a barista takes your order, makes your day, gives you a compliment, makes the coffee from the beginning to the end for you, then cleans the toilet, cleans the floor, closes the place, shuts down the lights, and he doesn't deserve a tip. I never understood that like why you don't have such a obvious tipping culture for baristas as well. But this thing to make sure that people are okay, we really need to have those we need to ask deeper questions to people. And again, um, can we change our industry like this? No, but we can start with our own crowds. It's like asking really deeper questions, taking care of people, following up on those questions. It's like, if you feel exhausted, did you find time to rest? Do you want me to take you out for a coffee? Let me take care of that for you. Is there anything which I can do in your life which I can take away the baggage from you? Have deeper conversations, sharing your experience, etc. Sharing resources. Found a nice book. You follow a really nice, I don't know, mental health professional on Instagram. Share those things. We should start very micro, and then I really think we are going to start to have a change. This panel, which we did with Lucia, Fatima, and Anna in Madrid Coffee Festival, was our call for help. Was our moment saying enough is enough. We are in a crisis as an industry. We don't have a problem. We have a crisis in the industry, and the crisis is a lack of mental health awareness and lack of taking care of our mental health in the industry in all possible levels. And we did it to not change things and give people immediate, solutions for things. All of them think a little bit about themselves and about their closest communities of what they can do to help out. Or, for example, this discussion, we would love more people in other regions, in Greece, outside of Europe, in other continents, to take up this topic and do this kind of panels and discussions in their own event. To be able to widen the scope of us actually starting a conversation. Because do we have a solution for everyone? No, there's no universal solutions right now. But we need to start to have this conversation. Living in Madrid, I know that absolutely every specialty coffee would need an extra barista, would need an extra pair of hands. If we are not going to have and fix the health of our industry and the mental well-being of our industry, people will keep leaving. Because basically now our industry is run on performance, it's run on high expectations, and it's run on constantly performing without any, backup system, without
Mhm.
any, support system for that. And because of this, I'm absolutely not surprised that people don't want to be career baristas, don't want to stay behind the bar, don't want to open their own cafes, because they don't feel like they will be strong enough to do it, or they will not feel like they will be motivated enough to on a long run to.
Uh, I was thinking yesterday that I was preparing my mind for this conversation today that for me, coffee is a symbol, not and coffee stain as a podcast and not only podcast is a symbolism that is coffee is something that inspires me in order to talk about uh, real everyday life of people. And that's why I uh, again repeat that I feel so connected with you because you have the same way of thinking, the same mentality, let's say, and uh, that we should talk again and again and upload things like this and do in our interviews to share that people is the center of the coffee industry, is the foundation and the core thing important of our coffee industry. Also, other people around the coffee industry to see this mental health thing because we are in the coffee industry and we can see this, but all the world is exactly the same. We talk just about this because we are inside this bubble, like you said.
Yes, because uh, I think like we are all connected by this idea that there's something more to coffee, and that those beautiful people are behind it, and at the same time this keep us going. But at the same time, this is still such a fragile thing when you think about it, because it's like, yes, that's the truth, but at the same time, what goes behind it, behind those people, how do they take care of themselves? We always say about ourselves, oh, we as coffee, and especially specialty coffee, we are different. We are different than corporate. We are different than all those other industries because we have a community. It's true and not true. And at the same time, it's also a very, in my opinion, a very toxic way of thinking. If we just focus on this and, for example, ignore the fact that we don't take care of each other and ourselves first. Um, I always think like, first is your responsibility to acknowledge that, hey, this is not a place which is
Something is
nurturing.
wrong.
Everything will look beautiful on Instagram when you
Mhm.
post wonderful things, funny reels from cafes, etc. But do you really belong, right? Do you belong? Do you feel good? Do you feel like this is nurturing you? And you really need to have this honest conversation with yourself. And then also for the people who have responsibility for other people is like have checkups with your teams, how your team is feeling in all possible levels, not only baristas, but roasters, producers, etc. But at the same time, it really needs to start with you. Because I'm telling you, if you don't acknowledge it, that if you don't take care of yourselves, how you can take care of the others? We always say like, how you can love others if you don't love yourself. Yeah, you need to start with yourself first. Especially now in like in our industry, I don't know if you agree. I think you agree. We are responsible for our own career paths. There's no like in other industries, like you have a doctor or you have a, I don't know, a person in corporate, there is a very clear path for you to follow. And until at some point you have some growth, you have some, promotions, but you have something to look up to, you have some sort of a goal or you have some sort of a mission. Like if you're a doctor or a firefighter, this is your mission. Yeah. That this is your grand goal. Like you save people. Yes. But what is our grand goal in the coffee industry? What is the end game? Right? What
I
is our
think
end?
I think it's uh, so different for every one of us, for every person, for every personality, that it's, as you said, there's no one goal. So
Exactly.
multiple goals, exactly depending on Lucas and Artemis and Sophia.
Exactly. But because of this, um, we don't really have like a clear career paths in our industry. So many of us are lost at some point, and so many of us
Mm.
burn out. So many of us get exploited. So many of us lose vision or lose motivation, simply because they don't know what more things to do. And because
Mm-hmm.
of that, I really think that the way we are connected and as a community, and the amazing initiatives which we have, like podcasts, festivals, discussion panels, etc., educational content, everything. It's so much of those, but at the same time, it's so easy to get lost in all this. And I really think that it's a little bit problematic as well in our industry that we are so responsible for our own careers, like meaning that it's like that we don't really have much guidance, that we don't really have much coaching about it. We don't really have a career advisor in coffee industry. It's like, hey, you like doing latte art, this. Hey, you like to taste, you can be a cup taster competitor, or you can become a Q grader in the future. Yes, nobody really helps you out to figure out those things. It's kind of on your own. And because of this, we are so connected in this industry, but at the same time, we are also so lonely very often, and we are also so lonely with our in let's say development. And I would also love to change the mentality of a lot of people in our industry, who, when they see someone who wants more, who asks for more money per hour, I want to get educated, I want to get workshop, I want to have an SCA course, to not consider those people demanding, but consider those people focused on their growth, consider themselves taking care of themselves. Because I have so many cafe friends, owners, who are dear friends of mine, and how many times I had to have like a heated conversation with them, which they say, "Oh, this Anna, she again asked to have like a course. Like, how many courses does she need? As many as she freaking wants. It's her individual thing. Like, of course, it's up to you to decide and discuss how much you can support it financially as a business owner, and how much it's feasible for you. You have a business to run, but don't never scold or criticize someone for willing to actually enhance their skills or mindset, or being out there. The same with competitions, attending festivals, attending cuppings. So many times I have a situation that a barista writes to me. It's like, hey, I would really love to come to your tasting, but I have shifts and stuff, and I'm afraid to ask for a change. And if I know the barista, the cafe owner, or if I know the boss, I will text them and say like, hey, this guy from your cafe really wants to attend the tasting. Is there any way we can do that he can attend? Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, can I help somehow?
You say beautiful and so valuable things today that for me there's no need to talk. I even lost whatever I wanted to ask you. So you are a waterfall like this, which I love, which I really love. Uh, One thought that came to me with all these opportunities that you said is that maybe it's a good idea uh, because coffee industry is so much connected around the world. So I'm here in Greece, you're in Spain, but you are from Poland. Someone else is from Mexico, from Germany, Australia. But in a way, we are all connected. And that creates a very beautiful connection. But also, I believe that it creates a burden because Artemis wants to go to Australia to see the friend that she made through Instagram or through this community, to see her there. And I think that this non-stop traveling and moving of the coffee people is a fact of lack of mental health. Uh, I think this is a tiny. How can I say this? It's beautiful and bad at the same time. It's if you put it in to measure it, and that the fact that there is a possibility to focus on our local community, Thessaloniki, not even Greece, Thessaloniki, Athens, Chalkidiki. I think that this should be a real goal for the coffee people. What do you think? It came to me through your sayings.
I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely, completely. I approached my second burnout in the coffee in life, but the first one in coffee industry exactly because of this. Because I was always chasing things which were outside, which were in the bigger scheme of community, which were in other countries, which were like I had so many conversations, so many chats, so many laughs with people on festivals who I see for a second and they just go to a different continent, right? And I always thought that the grass is greener on the other side, and I always like this is the coffee industry. I remember when I went to for the first time to London Coffee Festival, which was a turning point for me because that was the moment when I realized I am absolutely stuck and I'm not moving forward in the industry. And there's so much shiny things here, which like, oh my God, there's so much energy, there's so much motivation, there's so much juicy personalities, like people who are so alive here. And because of this, I really wanted to be part of it. But at the same time, I was missing it very much in my like, local community. I was doing my best to grow it, but not at the same and at the pace which I wanted to, right? And I was really losing focus on this local aspect. You need to indeed focus on your local community first to identify, to see what you can do, to try to get involved, to build some sort of a support network. But really, don't be afraid to change or move if it doesn't fit you. Because also I see so many people who are, for example, from much smaller cities, etc. And they have so much of this energy and they want to do so many things. And like they could do a cupping, tasting, throwdown, gathering, networking event every week because they have so much energy. Every day they could do it. But there's no one to do it for. It's very hard to grow communities. Sometimes you put yourself out there and it's very hard. Yesterday, I had this realization because I was freaking out that not so many people are registering for a cupping, which I was making, and I was like, and I had this first of all imposter syndrome, which hit in. It's like, who are you? How dare you? Like, do you really think people want to come to your events? One thing, but the other thing was this flashback from the past of Lucas, maybe 5-6 years ago, when I was trying to do events in Warsaw, and for example, we were bringing absolutely amazing coffees or bringing absolutely amazing equipment, and we are doing like those networking events for the coffee industry to just experiment, play together, and taste together. And very often, I was so excited about it, and like one person came, two people came, three people came, and I remember how much it put me down back then. And I remember it's like you put all your heart out there and people are just like, fuck it. Like they don't care. But that was also very bad thinking because what I should have focused is like this person came. This one person came. This two people came. These three people came. They want to spend part of their day with you and enjoy things. This aspect I was missing. And I think a lot of us are missing. So you always need to balance and you really need to find what works for yourself. And if it really works for you to do things in a very small scale, like for example, now I'm trying to make popular a system which I do of tasting coffees. Like instead of doing a coffee cupping, which is a little bit intimidating from people outside of the industry, like you don't have the bowls, you don't have the spoons, it's a little bit messy, complicated for people from outside of the industry. I made a format of tasting where you have a simple French press for €5, which you can buy whenever, and you just ask the cafe to grind coffee for you. You brew the coffee and you share it with your friends, and you taste together in a gathering. And it can be one person, it can be two people, it can be 5 people, depending how many people you want to do. But taste on your micro scale, in your own mini community. Yes. And if that works for you, it's fantastic. Not everyone needs to do an event for 50 people, right? But for us in the industry, if we want to really take the benefit of the community, we really need to take both aspects into consideration. Growth organically in our own communities, see if that fits you, see if we can grow here, see if this is nurturing soil for ourselves. So, for example, what I realized is like Warsaw was really not my thing. Really, I was there for 7 years, probably 4 too much, 5 too much. Warsaw was supposed to just be a pit stop for me. Actually, I moved
Mhm.
there to be for a little bit, just like a waiting point to go somewhere abroad. That was always the plan. Took me 7 years to move. But now, for example, in Madrid, I can tell you that this is my place. This is my nurturing ground. Here, I want to do things. Here, I want to do things for people. Yet at the same time, as I told you, even with a person who might, all of my friends tell me, you should not worry. Of course, your cupping is going to be full. Everyone loves your events, etc. But
Mhm.
not every participant of an event, every new event is a challenge, and every participant is a gift. Really, it's like it's an honor for me that people want to come and spend time together, and I really, really appreciate it. And I really, even yesterday, I told you I need to shift my perception from thinking, oh my God, just 10 out of 20 or just 13, 16 out of 20 people can participate. Switch it to, oh my God, 13, 16 people want to spend time with us, want to enjoy, want to listen to stories, want to taste amazing coffees, and want to get to know things. It really, even with us, when we are so experienced with doing those things, we still need to go back to what really matters. But that's one thing, your local community. But us as an industry, we cannot only look in this local. Like, we really need to take an advantage of everything which is going around. Like, we need to get inspired. We need to learn from the best. We need to. None of us have time to experiment so much with coffee, to figure out things on our own. Like, we can learn so much from other people of how to run businesses, how to do events, how to start conversations, how to brew coffee simply. All those things take advantage from this beautiful community. And we need to be inspired by this. But yes, we shouldn't be only focusing like, of course, because it's London, so London things happen. So in my town, we cannot do those things. Try. If it doesn't work out, I'm telling you, maybe this really is not your playground. This is maybe not your nurturing ground. There's so many other possibilities. Coffee is a universal language. So if you have some skill set in any part of the coffee industry, you can really try to transmute it into some other things and to other
So
countries.
it's like what you're saying. It's not idolize either your local community or the English, the
Yeah,
Russian, the French, the Spanish community. It's
be real
all
about
about, yes, test and don't be afraid to test. That's the most important thing. And then find a balance, that because nothing is perfect. As we said, nobody's perfect. Nothing is perfect. No country is perfect until you live there and feel and uh, experience the living or the situation or whatever where you are,
yes,
because the experience is the most important thing.
yes. And this thing which you said about traveling all the time to meet other people and events, we are all coming to those events as professionals, as people from the industry. We are all going to those festivals, to those World of Coffees, to those big fairs to connect. But the system is designed to disconnect you because there's so much abundance of things. There's so many people. There's so little time to discuss things with people. We always say, okay, it's such a long festival, 3 days, but how actually many minutes do you have per person to talk to? How much you can actually connect on a deeper level? And I had a crisis of those events some time ago when I was like, I really love to go to those events because I can see those people who I care about from all the other parts of the world. Like, even you, when you're going to events, you always ask me, are you coming to Brussels? Are you coming there? I'm like, when we have a chance to meet, it's amazing. When we had this little moment at the very end of Host Milano, when I ran to your stand when you were packing, so we had that tiny second of conversation, yes? But then again,
Mm.
like, really, you go there, you have an
It's a
exhausting
tiny second.
for a tiny second of connection. And I don't think it's a healthy environment to do things. That's why I so much regret, and I really tried to bring it with the team without success. Um, Events which we used to have, which were different than coffee fairs. We used to have barista guild barista camps. We used to have roaster camps. We used to have technical camps. We used to have guilds in
Mm.
IC, remember. And I was part of the very last barista guild, and we really tried to bring those events back together, because I remember my barista camp, which I attended, which was in Poland, one of the last ones organized by SCA's Barista Guild. That was at the very beginning of my barista career. I think I was like 5, 6 months behind the bar, less probably, because I think it was autumn and I started in the summer. This event keeps me running until today. So many people I met this 8, 9 years ago, who I still am in touch and who still inspire me and who I still look up to because of that event. Because we were, for example, I don't remember how many of us there were, like 70 or even 100 coffee professionals, baristas mostly, and some people from the companies, which obviously had to be there to help out with execution of the event, and people from the organization, all the amazing trainers. And my first SCA courses there with Lauro Fioretti from Italy, my sensory courses. But the thing is, you didn't have a 10 seconds to talk to people. You had a
You
whole
did have so
the whole
many
evening.
days.
You had
Yes.
roomies, barista roomies, which you could talk 4 a.m. in the morning.
Mm.
Sometimes way too much wine as well. But it was important. But it was important that you could start to have this real friendships, because so many of us, I think, and you have the same thing. We have so many connections on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, etc. But how many of those people are actually our true friends? And I'm not saying they are bad people or whatever, but did we really reach this moment of becoming real friends? Did we really reach this moment of
Mm.
knowing each other, of really seeing each other as who we are? Because, so many people only remember me or know me from, like, oh, this entertaining guy from the stand at the festival, like, oh, he's so much fun, etc., etc. Oh, and he's so funny and stuff like this. But, like, do you know me? Do you really know me? Do you really know what I believe in? Do you really know what drives me? So little times we have this conversation. And then obviously, for example, when I go to coffee festivals, I go there to work. So when I go with Comandante, talk about grinders. This is my deal. So if you come
Mhm.
to a different topic, I need to say, I'm sorry, I'm here to work. We can have this conversation later. But you know how it is, 8, 9, 10 hours on a festival, then you force yourself to maybe go to dinner with some friends, or you escape into the hotel and just need some time for yourself. I usually do that nowadays because I'm just so oversaturated with what's going on, to be able to find this balance which we are talking about. Because again, what I'm saying, like, we always claim that we are such a unique and such a special community, and we are, but a very unbalanced one. And we really are very much into this chasing mode. Like, you cannot skip things. Like now, for example, World of Coffee Bangkok is approaching, then Brussels, then we have Panama, and everyone is already asking you, are you going to be in Brussels? Are you going to be in Panama? Are you going to be in Bangkok? And you always have this feeling, this rush, like you need to be there, because if not, the world is going to fall apart. And at the
It will
same time,
not.
you go there or you don't go there. Does the world really change? Not really. But I do really believe that we have so much potential to organize events on which we can actually connect. And I really think that the idea of which you are running, which Diana is running in Spain, which is the International Women Coffee Association, is one of those initiatives. One of those initiatives which brings connection back to the table and brings those moments of, like, real conversations, longer conversations, gatherings, proper networking, proper connection back to the table. Because the truth is, like, we cannot sit down and wait for someone to do it. Like, if we want to do it, we need to kind of do it ourselves, or start the conversation with the people who have the means to be able to do those things. Because I'm telling you, I was part of the last barista guild, and all of us, which we are doing the leadership council, we all wanted to do events, and we couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a failure? Yes. Can we still change things? Yes. We shouldn't give up. We really shouldn't give up. We can find other opportunities. We can find other ways to connect.
We really connect when we talk and when we see each other. And I have to confess that through the podcast, I have connected with many people after the interview. I knew them. I knew a little bit about them, but not so much. And after the interview, after this 1.5 hour that we talk, and we have talked previously in order to arrange things and these things like that. In this way, I really met these people. I really saw these people, and that was the plan. To be honest, I wanted to understand and see what is behind. I remember in one of my first episodes that was in English. I was sharing that it was an interview that a friend interviewed me and not me, the friend. I was saying that I wanted people to see what is behind, as you said, the big fairs, because everyone that comes there, they see the great booths, lights. We are dressed in our best. We look beautiful and shiny, but they do not see the days before that we all run like crazy. That we try to pack the things, we try to fix the the booths, and we try to find a toilet in order to pee because there are no toilets open.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Oh God.
yes.
Yes. We understand.
And that was one of the main um, reasons that led me to create this podcast. But people need to know the back, that the before, the inside, what it's not seen at the moment in the big fairs or in a brand, well-known brand. Okay, it's Comandante, it's Artemis, but who is Artemis? Who is George? Who is Lucas? From this great conversation today, Lucas, if we could say that we need to point out three final sentences, I would say that people should talk more about mental health. People of the industry should try to connect more in a real and meaningful way, and start seeing first ourselves, and then we can see the others. Do you agree? Did I
Absolutely.
catch it?
Absolutely. I wouldn't summarize it in a better way. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Yes. And thank you for this. It's such a pleasure that we could have those topics, and I can't wait to see you and talk about things or do things more together, because we can.
You will. You will. Because apart from me, myself, and the coffee stain, we also in the IWCA we're preparing some things also about mental health, and there are coming new things are coming that I think that are meaningful and maybe not so fancy but meaningful. Like
We don't need fancy. We have too much fancy. We need meaning.
exactly.
We need meaningful. Yeah.
Exactly. We don't need no fancy. So, Lucas, thank you so much for being here today. I really look forward to see you again face to face and drink coffee in a cafe and enjoy the time and enjoy the moment. And I think that we will arrange to do it.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And have a beautiful day.
You too. My kisses. Bye bye.
Bye. Ciao, ciao.
Και φυσικά, αν ανήκετε στη βιομηχανία του καφέ και θέλετε να μοιραστείτε μαζί μας την ιστορία, τις εμπειρίες, τις επιτυχίες, τις αποτυχίες σας, το Coffee Stain ανυπομονεί να σας φιλοξενήσει. Συμπληρώστε τη φόρμα που υπάρχει στο link στην περιγραφή, στείλτε ένα mail, ένα μήνυμα, ό,τι αγαπάτε. Ας κάνουμε τη βιομηχανία του καφέ πιο ενδιαφέρουσα. Τι λέτε?